When you think about businesses that are selling through the roof, like aloe or skins, sure, you think about a great product, a cool brand, and brilliant marketing. But an often overlooked secret is actually the businesses behind the business, making selling, and for shoppers, buying, simple. For millions of businesses, that business is Shopify. Nobody does selling better than Shopify. With Shop Pay, that boosts conversions up to 50%, meaning way less carts are going abandoned and way more sales happening. So if you're into growing your business, your commerce platform better be ready to sell whatever your customers are scrolling or strolling on the web, in your store, in their feed, and everywhere in between. Businesses that sell more, sell on Shopify. Upgrade your business and get the same checkout Skins uses. Sign up for your $1 per month trial period at shopify.com/Westwood1, all lowercase. Go to shopify.com/Westwood1 to upgrade your selling today. Shopify.com/Westwood1.
Introducing Instagram Teen Accounts, a new way to keep your teens safer as they grow, like making sure they've got the right gear for riding.
Knee pads.
Check.
And helmet?
Done. See you, Dad.
New Instagram Teen Accounts, automatic protections for who can contact your teen and the content they can see.
This podcast is sponsored by Talkspace. You know when you're really stressed or not feeling so great about your life or about yourself? Talking to someone who understands can really help. But who is that person? How do you find them? Where do you even start? Talkspace. Talkspace makes it easy to get the support you need. With Talkspace, you can go online, answer a few questions about your preferences, and be matched with a therapist. And because you'll meet your therapist online, you don't have to take time off work or arrange childcare. You'll meet on your schedule, wherever you feel most at ease. If you're depressed, stressed, struggling with a relationship, or if you want some counseling for you and your partner, or just need a little extra one-on-one support, Talkspace is here for you. Plus, Talkspace works with most major insurers, and most insured members have a $0 copay. No insurance? No problem. Now get $80 off of your first month with promo code SPACE80 when you go to Talkspace.com. Match with a licensed therapist today at Talkspace.com. Save $80 with code SPACE80 at Talkspace.com.
Hey there, listeners. Welcome to Shit That Goes On to Our Heads, the podcast where we normalize conversations around mental health.
That's right. I'm Dirty Skittles, and alongside my amazing co-host, Rex, we are here to share stories and tips from our incredible guests.
Each episode, we deep dive into struggles and triumphs of mental health, offering practical advice and heartfelt support.
Because no one should feel alone in their journey. Join us as we break the stigma and build a community of understanding and compassion.
Tune in and let's start talking about the shit that goes on in our heads. 3, 2, 1. Welcome back to another episode of Shit That Goes On Our Heads. I have my amazing co-host, Dirty Skittles, and we have an incredible guest, Alyssa. Welcome. I'm so excited to have you on the show.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm very excited to be here.
Welcome. So you said it was cold outside. What is the temp?
It is like 30 degrees maybe, which I guess is not the worst it's been. It definitely went down to about 20, 23 in the past couple of weeks, but it's not in the 50s or 60s. I will say that.
Nice. Okay. Keep him warm. I love that.
Yeah. Staying cozy.
Yeah. Like, don't go outside. It's gross. Like here it's 35, but gross. Feels like 28. And tomorrow, yeah, the high tomorrow is going to be 4.
That's brutal. And it just hurts when you're outside. You're like literally in pain and it's like a sharp shooting feeling that I can't deal with.
Yeah, it's the absolute worst.
Yeah.
When it's so cold, you feel it in your bones or like your nose hairs freeze as soon as you walk outside. Too cold.
And your eyes hurt. Like.
Yes. Your body's shutting down.
And for me, when we get a lot of snow, I'm short. So when we get like a foot of snow, it's above my ankle, above my knees. And so it takes a long time for my old hips to like walk through the snow. Like, no, that's not fun.
Then you're afraid of falling.
I'm afraid of, now I'm really afraid of falling because, now that I quit my job, I'm not going to have insurance. So I am like super leery of like, do I want to step on that? Probably not. But yeah, I'm super excited, and I'm super excited to hear your story and your journey and 2025 is going to be a baller year. So I'm excited.
I feel that. Yes. I feel like it's the year of like growth, expansion. I feel like so many people I've spoken to feel that way too. So there's something like collective going on, you know?
Yeah. I was just thinking that as you said that, I'm like, everybody, we're all on the same page somehow of what 2025 will be for us. So with that being said, what makes Alyssa?
Such a big question, but I love it. Yeah. So, I mean, I'm a licensed therapist. I feel like mental health and therapy was just like very normal in my family growing up, which is really cool and something I've been looking back on as I got older as something I'm kind of grateful for. You know, at the time felt annoyed by that, but now I'm like, no, that's really cool. So I was kind of always fascinated by why people behave the way they do, how mental health, how trauma affects us. And then throughout like my own growth journey and all of that and seeking therapy myself and my own like wellness journey too, I found myself on the path of becoming a therapist and just helping people and learning and growing. And then the more I do, the more I feel like I get better as a therapist and kind of goes from there. So I have my own private practice now, which has been a lot of fun and another like phase of growth and learning of being a business owner. So that's kind of where I'm at right now.
Yeah. Is that scary, being your own business owner?
It is. Yes. I feel like at first, so I was working at a group practice and kind of balancing the two, the group and my own. A lot of fear, a lot of anxiety, a lot of just unknown and uncertainty, which of course is not fun for anyone in humans, but especially I can struggle sometimes with anxiety. So just feeling the unknown was really tough. But then as I've made the switch to full-time private practice, it's just like kind of all worked out. I have almost a full caseload now, and it's just like unfolded in the way it's needed to. So I feel really good about it. There's going to be periods, I'm sure, where there's more fear and, you know, unknown again. But where I'm at right now, I feel really excited. So both.
How do you work past the anxiety of it all? Like, how do you get past it to do this scary thing?
That's such a good question. I feel like for me, I always start with like the foundations of kind of your basics around wellness and everything, like sleep. I need to make sure I'm getting 8 hours of sleep. I need to make sure that I'm going to the gym, I'm lifting weights, I'm doing things to nourish my nervous system. It's just so I have the foundation of, you know, of my anxiety kind of hardwired. And then it's just kind of the mindset. So anytime I start having fears come up, self-doubt, catastrophizing, ruminating, I'm trying to kind of like reframe that and challenge that. Just kind of thinking about like, how would I talk to my clients in these moments? How can I apply that to myself?
Were you like always anxious, like even as a child?
I look back at it and I'm like, yeah, maybe I was more so than I thought. I didn't think so for a while. And I'm like, oh no, I was. Also, my parents have told me when I was younger, I sometimes struggled to speak when I was like really little and I would kind of get quiet and shy. But it's also funny because I was in musical theater. And so I was like performing and singing and on stage. So I'm like, wait a second, how was I so confident there? But I do remember feeling so much anxiety, performance anxiety, especially like right before I would go on stage. But I believe like the more I did it, of course, kind of exposure therapy would help kind of decrease it over time. So, and then for me personally, I don't drink alcohol, which honestly helped significantly. I feel like a lot of anxiety was like post drinking or like hangover anxiety. And that just like, you know, made things worse. And once I got rid of that, I started feeling way better too. Still have, you know, moments of anxiety, obviously, but those things have kind of helped.
Yeah. Hangover anxiety. I'm like,
Anxiety.
Yeah, anxiety. Is it, this is random, or it's not random, but it's not necessarily in line with what we were talking about. But is it anxiety because of like, oops, what did I do? Or is it like, it just adds to it because you're feeling horrible. And then the next day you're already anxious?
I think it's both. So I do
okay.
a little bit of both. For me personally, it was like, yeah, what was I saying? What was I doing? Was that my best self? But then also it was just what I've learned, especially as like kind of researching it more too, is that like, I don't know maybe it's the not dopamine system, but just, you know, your brain chemistry, it increases cortisol. So I think just naturally can make you more anxious. And then also if you're kind of going into like a mini withdrawal, not in like a severe form, but just, you know, when you're no longer drinking, that could also bring up a lot of anxiety just in the brain. So there's like the neurochemistry thing. And then, yeah, like what happened? What did I do? So it can be a combination.
Yeah. Interesting. Growing up, you mentioned that this was like your family discussed mental health, like it was pretty open and embraced.
Yeah.
So did you kind of know from a young age that this was the route you wanted to take in life?
At first, I thought I was going to do musical theater, funny enough. My dad is a musician, and because I was always performing, I just thought that's what I would do. I look back and I think that maybe I didn't have the full confidence in myself. Like, I do wish I pursued it more just for fun, even. But I was always, like, when I was younger, I was a camp counselor and just always like helping people and children and stuff. And as I became more fascinated by it, I didn't know what exactly I would do, but I wanted to pursue psychology. And when I would take the classes, I would just be like obsessed. And for me, I'm really like passionate over the top when I love something. So I kind of knew I was on the right path. Then once I got some internships and jobs in the field and really got into it and understood it more and myself, I found that like, okay, this is the right thing for me. And it all kind of clicked.
Thanks.
I love this. And I love the fact that, you know, you faced all your fears and opened up your own business. And, you know, as, you know, older women, you know, that's a scary thing. You know, for me, I quit my day job and no longer working in the corporate world and opening my own business. Mm-hmm. And I had to face those fears. But you know what? I took a chance on me. And I know that there's going to be good days and bad days, but like I did it for me. I didn't do it for anybody else. And, you know, thankfully for me, you know, my wife has been 100. She's been the biggest supporter. You know, the day that she gave me permission to quit my job, I was like, deuces, I'm out. But like, I attribute like my therapist too, right? You know, you have to believe in yourself. And once I stopped like with the negative self-talk and things like that helped me immensely. I'm like, you know what? You are a baller and you're going to be fine. And we're just going to roll with it. And, you know, trying to help Dirty Skittles see the same thing in her too. Like, you know, she wants to make these changes in 2025. But you know what? Believe in yourself. It's for everybody else. You know, you're doing this for you, not for anybody else.
It's so interesting. And I don't know if this is like a woman thing or not, but I guess literally until today, like, I don't know that I had that mentality of do it for yourself. I think to some level, you know, I'm a mom, I'm a wife, I'm a daughter, I'm all these things that I think that's part of where the anxiety comes from of doing something for you, something you want to do, being self-employed, for example. Like, what if I fail? Do I fail as a wife, as a mom, as a daughter, right? Like that's the anxiety, the anxious feelings. But I feel like today, like I'm starting to like, does success look like for me, right? Like if I do this thing, how is that going to feed my soul first before I'm anything else? So it's interesting.
Yeah, that's so important. And I do feel like, and as women and everything, there's so much like pressure and expectation and stuff from society too, of like thinking about other people first. I find that this is like the core of the work that I do with clients. And for myself, it's like, as you just said, you know, what is it that I need? What is it that nourishes me? What is it that I want? And, you know, with the failure thing, I love the challenging of that of like, well, of course, what if I don't? Then how will you feel about yourself either way? And it builds like self-trust and confidence when you do the hard thing for yourself and you like challenge yourself and push yourself out of your comfort zone. It's like so empowering. Like, look, I could do anything that I set my mind to.
Yeah. Yeah. I guess I've never challenged the like, what if I don't fail? Right. Like the fear of failure has stopped me from doing so many things in life. So it's very interesting. I guess we'll see what 2025 brings.
But, you know, we had the same fear of failure with the podcast, right? We never thought anybody would listen to us. We thought we would do like 3 episodes and like be done. Okay. Fast forward to, you know, 2 years. We've had over 100 episodes. We've had 1 million downloads. We're listened to in 60 countries. And we have that ripple effect, right? And we are the catalyst to, you know, normalize how we talk about mental health. And I think that's really important in this day and age. The next couple of years are going to be really tough on a lot of people. And like, if we can just encourage them to, you know, find your joy, really just find your joy, because at the end of the day, that's when you're at peace, when you find your joy.
Introducing Instagram teen accounts, a new way to keep your teen safer as they grow, like making sure they always have their seatbelt on.
All right, sweetie pie, buckle up. Good job.
Or ring the bell on their bike.
Okay, kid, give it a try. Nice.
Or remember their elbow pads.
Knees too, okay? Yep. There you go.
New Instagram teen accounts. Automatic protections for who can contact your teen and the content they can see.
The highest achievers among us are the people still striving, still reaching for something. The people who aren't satisfied to stay where they are and want to keep climbing higher. And it's those people who approach the impossible and embrace it. There's a vehicle for people like that. It's called the Defender. The Defender is an icon, reimagined for a new generation of explorers through thoroughly modern design. Its interior is modern and functional, with rich material finishes and quality craftsmanship. When you're in a Defender, you can tell the interior is built for purpose. Luxury appointments throughout and practical storage options ensure you adventure in comfort. This is a vehicle capable of great things and engineered to meet challenges head-on. Wherever you're headed, experience the Defender's legendary capability, both off-road and on. And there's a family of vehicles for Defender. Meet the Defender 90, Defender 110, and the 8-seat Defender 130. Are you ready to embrace the impossible? Explore the Defender at LandRoverUSA.com.
This podcast is sponsored by Talkspace. You know when you're really stressed or not feeling so great about your life or about yourself? Talking to someone who understands can really help. But who is that person? How do you find them? Where do you even start? Talkspace. Talkspace makes it easy to get the support you need. With Talkspace, you can go online, answer a few questions about your preferences, and be matched with a therapist. And because you'll meet your therapist online, you don't have to take time off work or arrange childcare. You'll meet on your schedule, wherever you feel most at ease. If you're depressed, stressed, struggling with a relationship, or if you want some counseling for you and your partner, or just need a little extra one-on-one support, Talkspace is here for you. Plus, Talkspace works with most major insurers, and most insured members have a $0 copay. No insurance? No problem. Now get $80 off of your first month with promo code SPACE80 when you go to Talkspace.com. Match with a licensed therapist today at Talkspace.com. Save $80 with code SPACE80 at Talkspace.com.
Yeah, that's amazing. And then that question too, it's like, what happened if you didn't do that? You know, and now you've found your joy and helped so many other people too. And I always ask, like, when you think about failure, it's like, what does that even mean? Like, so if you didn't do it, or if you did it and you quote, quote, failed, like, what do you believe that means about yourself?
Mm-hmm.
Carry so many of just like core beliefs about who we are and what that would mean and what other people would think. But it's so cool to hear that you guys kept going and, you know, look where you are now. That's amazing, really.
Yeah, I think we kept going for different reasons. I think G-Rex, to your credit, she's always seen, I guess, how shiny and like bright and beautiful this could be, right? I think for me, I did it more as like, who doesn't want to hang out and talk to their friend, right? Like it was, there was no pressure. I think I never put pressure on, will it succeed or fail? I think G-Rex always knew, oh, it's gonna succeed because she's gonna make it succeed, kind of a thing. So it's inspiring to kind of learn from you, G-Rex, and all the guests that we get to talk to. Like, what is success? Like, what is failure? Like, it's challenging these, I don't want to call them like a core belief, but it's something that, you know, comes from somewhere, right? Like I have that fear. So yeah, I mean, this has been already 2025. What are we, 18 days in, has already been like challenging myself, I think, in those beliefs more so than ever before. So
like, this is the year we're all going to take back our power. Okay. Literally, we are taking back our power. We're going to find our joy. We're going to make a difference where we can and fight for those that are being, you know, having injustice. I mean, that's how I'm going to kind of tackle the next 4 years. And that brings me some joy. And, you know, I was telling Dirty Schools this morning, like, I feel like a huge weighted X-ray blanket has come off my shoulders. I slept better last night than I have in 2 years. And that was, I didn't use any chemicals. I didn't have a melatonin. I didn't have a gummy. I just slept like a rock. And I was excited because these are our first recordings for 2025. And it always brings me joy. because I love meeting interesting people and hearing their stories and their journeys. And I like helping our listeners and giving everybody a voice.
Sounds like it energizes you guys. So nourishes it, and it's it's profound, and that's when other people obviously will then connect to it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I have a question for you, Jurex. You've said this, I've heard it at least twice, and I'm always like, I want to ask you more about it. When you say that your partner gave you permission to do it. And the reason why it interests me is because I think to some degree, part of the anxiety I have in pursuing something for myself and starting my own business is not having the permission to, whether it's my partner or my friends or my parents, people that I care about and their opinion of me, not giving me that permission. And I'm if we can just talk about it a little bit more, why is that such a big part?
In all the years of me growing up, I always got kind of dissed for what I wanted to do and decisions that I made for myself. And, I'm farther along in my career. I'm 61 and a half years old. And, my wife, she's been retired for 15 years. So me quitting my job, that was going to put a little bit of a hit on our finances, right? But we were sitting in a restaurant in New York City on December 21st, and we were just having this really great, deep conversation. We had these amazing conversations when we were in the city. And she's like, I know you hate your job. She's like, just leave. Just leave. Do what makes you happy. Do the podcast. Make your own company. Find that joy. And having that permission from her made all the difference in the world. I knew it was going to be okay. And so we were sitting on the tarmac trying to come home, and it was cold as balls in Newark. Mm-hmm. And so they had to de-ice the plane for an hour and a half. Why does it take an hour and a half to de-ice a plane? I don't know. But I took my resume and threw it into ChatGPT, and I said, make an independent consulting firm out of my resume. And it spit out everything I wanted to do. So I get to not only do my technical stuff, but I get to do my wellness stuff too. And when I told that to my wife, her eyes just lit up because she knows that's where my joy is. And all she ever wants to do is see me happy. And, 2 years ago, I wanted to commit suicide. And today, in 2025, I'm opening my own business. What a great, amazing epiphany. And so thankful to be alive that I get to do this, right? I got to reinvent myself. And yeah, I'm going to have some hardships. And, there are some critics out there. I don't care. Listen, I'm 61 now. I don't need your permission to do what makes me happy. And I think in your case, Dirty Skittles, is find your joy. Mm. It took me 61 years to do that, but I found my joy. I'm really happy for the future, but I get to talk to really great guests too, right? Mm-hmm. And you guys give us insight to make us think better too. So for us, this is free therapy. We do this, we release 53 episodes a year, and we get to learn from you guys also and share that wisdom with our listeners. And for me, that's what makes me happy. We have a ripple effect. Whatever we do in life, we have a ripple effect. And ignore the critics. We can learn from them. We can take some advice from them, but we don't let it control us and what our thoughts are and how we perceive our own joy. Does that answer your question?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it makes sense, right?
And, the way you can also tell people to fuck off because you know what? That always works too.
No, it made sense because I think I was, if you have a dual income house or whatever, and one person stops to pursue something, getting the permission of is this okay? Can you carry this quote unquote burden of financial burden on your own while I do this thing? I think in my mind, I'm thinking more metaphorically, I mean, what's the worst that could happen, right? Like I could do this and it doesn't work out. And then I just go back to what I was doing that was bringing in, money. But I think to some degree, as an individual, you have to give yourself permission to try this and like see what it's about.
That's what I was going to say. I wonder if like your wife giving you permission is what gave you permission, like that safety, as you mentioned, like I've got the support, I've got the encouragement. Now I can give myself that push and that encouragement.
And like for the first time in, forever, I'm not going to have insurance. So like, like I said, now I'm very cognizant of what I do and what I step into. And if I'm going to go fucking outside, looks like a cold, not going to go outside. But I think, because, I'm a lot older than both of you, it took me a long time to get here. I spent 45 years in the corporate world. And I just got to a point where I didn't want to do it anymore. But, we also had some really good opportunities come up for the podcast and for my book. And it brings me joy. Okay. So 2025 is going to be all about what brings me joy. And Alyssa, I want to find out for 2025, what will bring you joy?
Love that. It's funny because I ask my clients that like every single day, session, week, and, asking myself is so important too. For me, it's letting go of caring what other people think and kind of just refocusing, like, what is it that I want to need? For me, as I keep mentioning, for some reason, which means it's important to me, but music, I want to just like let go of caring what people think and do music truly just for fun, whether I sing, play piano. I want to like get outside, be with my friends, just do things that aren't only for like wellness or self-care purposes. That's so important, but doing things that literally just fill the cup and like bring a smile and make me laugh and everything without any sort of reason for doing it other than it just feels good.
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah. Music. Wow. I mean, is it something that you would share with others, or do you think you would do it just for you, like where nobody else is around?
Just for me for now, but that would be a really cool goal and push me out of my comfort zone. But yeah, just for me for now. But I was thinking about all the things that I do, and they are very focused on like, yes, mental health, wellness, self-care. And again, those are so important. But I was thinking like, I just need a hobby that isn't, it doesn't have to do with any of that. And there's no like productivity or performance or whatever, or accomplishment, just things that like occupy my time and make me smile again. So that's kind of like an intention of mine for 2025, do things that, just for fun, true joy.
Yeah. I've been trying to challenge myself with my 2025 being, look, I barely say it, I'm so nervous, but 2025 being the year that, and I don't know if anybody listening can relate, but there are some times where I envision who I am or who I could be, I guess you could say, like, oh, I could do this, I could do that, I could be like this, I could do more of this or whatever. And 2025 being the year where I could just be that person instead of, imagining that I'm that person, right? Like, I'm like, oh, I could go back to the gym and work out. I could, start this business. I could do these things. And I'm like, I would be so much happier if I just did them instead of thinking about them all the time. That's my 2025, is to actually put action into place so that I could have those things and be that person.
You know what I like asking? Like, what is it that your younger self looking at you now would be proud of? And I find that empowering, like thinking back to the younger you, like what would make you feel proud now? And that can like help with that push.
Yeah, I don't. G-Rex, can you answer that? For me, look, my younger version, I don't think thought I would be alive at this age, if I'm being honest. I think just being here, being a wife and being a mom would have blown my mind at a younger age.
For sure. And like for me, I think my younger self would be super proud that I stopped listening to the critics and I did it for myself. Like I took all the naysayers out And I'm like, you know what? Y'all suck. And I'm going to do this. And I may have some hard days. Life is all about learning and growing and taking care of yourself. But, I did 2 really hard years of therapy on me. And I've never felt better. And this time around when I got depressed, everybody knew. I did not hide it. And to me, that was a huge thing, right? Being an empath, my wife's a little bit of an empath. So when I got really depressed, it got really dark in this house. And she was like, I'm so proud of you for opening up and letting people know that you were struggling. Yeah. Like when I, tried to take my life, I hadn't talked to anybody. So that's growth. Mm-hmm. And taking that in with my business and that my mindset, every day is not sunshine and roses. Someday is going to be like black clouds and rain. But we can still make something out of that day and out of our lives. And I don't know, the stars are aligning. It scares me, but I'm excited to see what happens. And I get to make my day the day that I want to make it. If I don't want to roll out of bed until 11 o'clock in the morning, I don't have to roll out of bed until 11 o'clock in the morning. And that will probably happen during the winter months because, I don't know, it's cold as balls outside. And the house is old and we have wood floors. And so when you step on that wood floor in the morning, oh, now you're fucking awake. Okay. So.
What about you, Alyssa? What would your younger self be proud of?
I would say, you know what? The business, truly. Just following something that for so long, I was like, oh, that's not me. I won't be able to do that. That's not, I just don't see that, whatever. But to finally empower myself to do it and to be in a space of being kinder to myself. I was always very critical of myself, high expectations. And now I feel like I've cultivated a better relationship with myself to be more encouraging. Obviously have days where that's hard, but just kind of being more gentle with myself to get here and just how well it's going so far, how much I'm loving it too. Being in a space of my career that I'm excited and I enjoy it and I'm starting to have more freedom. So yeah, definitely around business.
I feel like that's the reverse of the question I normally ask, isn't it, G-Rex? Normally ask, I'll give you the question now. So my go-to question at the end of it is, if you could go back in time to a younger version of yourself and give that younger version a piece of advice, what would you say to your younger self and how old are you when you go back? So what would you do?
Okay.
Yeah, go for it.
No, it's funny when I always think back on a younger version. For me, it's around 16, 17. That's when I was probably in the most pain. And so I would say just let myself feel what I needed to feel and kind of what was just talked about, just talk about it with someone, share, you don't have to go through it alone, or you don't have to carry and hold pain forever, whatever reason. I would just kind of say things are okay, nod. If an adult was trying to talk to me about something, I would bottle it. So just to let emotion out, let it be. And then also kind of the self-compassion part again, just be kind to yourself. No need to criticize. Things will be okay. Just some reassurance,
Introducing Instagram teen accounts, a new way to keep your teen safer as they grow, like making sure they always have their seatbelt on.
All right, buckle up. Good job.
New Instagram teen accounts, automatic protections for who can contact your teen and the content they can see.
What would you say the hardest lesson you've had to learn to date has been?
Good question too. These are big questions. I love it. You know what? Just let people do what they're going to do. I'm always fine. I'm reading the Let Them Theory right now by Robbins. So I feel like it's on my mind and also something that I've struggled with, but just let people be how they're going to be, act how they're going to act, think the way they are. And not only let go, but refocus, as we're speaking about, refocus that energy back to yourself, because the relationship you have with yourself is most important. I think I spent a lot of time focusing on other people. And then once I did start building trust in myself, I found that like relationships got so much better too. So just kind of, let people be how they're going to be and like refocus that energy on you, because the most important person is yourself,
Yeah.
I love those answers. Those are so awesome. So in like, I guess in recent years, have you had like any like major difficulties where you didn't believe in yourself and like where things didn't go the way you planned or anything like that?
Yeah. Yeah. I guess I keep referring back to like this journey of my business and going out on my own. But I think that's because, it's been so recent and something so important. But also just like having to kind of let go of control has been a big part of this. But yeah, just of course, always a little bit of doubt or like imposter syndrome. I think I struggled with that as a therapist earlier on in my career. Not that it's ever like fully goes away, but going into private practice is like a whole new set of, can I really do this? Who am I to do this? Those sort of questions. And kind of back to the failure piece too, like, well, what if I don't get any clients? What if I don't, what if I can't? Also financially, it was really scary for a little bit. What if I can't support myself? So those doubts kind of came back in and it kind of just all unfolded, luckily. And I mean, I put in that work and everything. But as I shifted away from my group practice, I ended up just naturally getting some new clients. And I feel like, I don't know if it was an energy thing or me letting go and just kind of rolling with it, it all kind of worked out. And now I'm really trying to practice just like if those fears come in, I can acknowledge them. I don't want to resist them, but then I can like let them be. I don't have to kind of fuse them in a way or believe them, make meaning out of them, which is something I often do. And I think so many of us, especially with anxiety, it's like, well, what does that mean? And what is this thought? And create so much meaning. But just like having those thoughts there, let me acknowledge them and then let them go and refocus.
Yeah. I feel you on that. The meaning, the anxiety, I'm like, oh my God, I do that. I do that a lot. It's crazy. It's crazy how we can get so far into our own head that if you don't stop to like, acknowledge it exists and then let it go.
Yes. Yeah. And like trying to make meaning out of trying to intellectualize and rationalize. That's something that I do. And I talk about all the time as a therapist. It's like, rather than just feel the feeling, even of anxiety, we're so quick to want to like explain it and make it logical and understand it. I'm always trying to come up with a reason. I'm like, wait, let me just notice and realize that this is just anxiety and fear telling me something. Listen to the message of that and let it be. It's a hard one.
Yeah. Have you, I feel like I've brought this up on a past podcast, but like, have you seen the movie Inside Out 2?
I have not finished it, which is I like had started it. I'm dying to finish it. So
I bring it up because still today, like I think about this movie anytime I'm feeling anxious, because it was the first time for me as an adult watching it with my son that I got to see anxiety, at least my version of anxiety, completely like pictured out in a movie. Like I was like, holy shit, like they nailed this emotion. And I had brought it up because I thought my son watching it, I'm hoping that when he gets older, if he has anxiety the way his mom does, that he's able to acknowledge it as an emotion. Like what you're saying, when you have these thoughts or when you're kind of getting into your own self, how wonderful would it be to already have that tool as a kid and know that's my anxiety because of this movie. So
yeah. I love that. It's so cool that they're like teaching that and making it so accessible. And yeah, I'm always like, it's so important to look at like the messaging too. It's like, it's our body system way of keeping us to tell us something. And then rather like, it's so easy to judge it and criticize and like want to hate on it almost and be mad at the fact that we have these challenges or emotions that are hard. But once we like embrace them and get nicer about them, I think that's when they fully actually then process, which is the kind of ironic thing. It's like that is how to truly move through the difficult feelings when you allow them in.
Exactly.
I have yet to see the movie. Now, okay, listen, I get right on that. Okay, I've been a little busy, been a tad bit busy. Wow. God, okay, don't be calling me out like that. So what do you, like, do you have any insight for our listeners on like how to stop with that self-doubt, because a lot of us get it. Like for me, when opening up my business, I'm like, oh, you're a fucking imposter and this is not going to happen. But I was able to talk myself out of it just because tools that I have from therapy. But I don't think everybody has those tools in their tool set. And so I want to help people out with that.
Totally. I always say, like, it's so easy to jump to the tools, but I always say backing up first to like, what's your inner critic trying to tell you? And like, where did it come from? I really think it's helpful to look at root causes, because sometimes this inner critic is actually like, or most of the times, a message we've internalized from either something that's happened, of course, whether just like a challenge or trauma, or it's the voice of someone in our lives that criticized us, was, mean to us, whatever. And we've now like taken it on as our own, especially like often, parents and things like that. So I always think it's important to start with like, okay, where is this coming from? When did this first develop? What is it trying to tell me? Oftentimes we can like judge the inner critic, of course, but it's like sometimes in a funny way, also just trying to keep you safe or protect you, which sounds a little counterintuitive, but quite interesting. And then I like to bring in like, if reframing works for you, okay, like how can you find a phrase that is more kind and positive and neutral? But I like to practice something called mindful self-compassion, where you are like bringing in mindfulness of the fact that you're struggling. You bring in this sense of common humanity, which is like, you know what, I'm not alone in this. Other people struggle with self-doubt and criticism and fears of failure, as we're speaking about. And then the self-kindness. I like to do like, I put one hand on my heart. I check in with myself. Felt a little like, weird at first. And now it's quite comforting. And then some sort of kind phrase like, things will be okay. I'll get through this. Or something more empowering too.
Yeah. I love that.
See, these are all good for you, Charlotte. Dirty Skittles.
Well, I mean, thank you so much for sharing your story and all your tidbits of advice. And like, you're very inspirational and like wise. And I'm like, oh, I feel calm. I'm like,
glad to hear that.
It's not as bad as I thought it was a couple of minutes ago. And yeah, I don't know. I think our listeners will benefit a lot from hearing this as well. Like, we all, though we're different, we are very similar in some of our beliefs. So I think this is going to help a lot of people.
We're all human. And that's something I love. Like, as a therapist, it's easy to think clients that, can think, well, therapists must have it together. But I practice in a way of like authenticity. We all have challenges, we're all human. And that's what kind of makes us all like imperfectly perfect. And there's a phrase in this mindful self-compassion, it's called like a compassionate mess. And I kind of love that. It's like, we're all compassionate messes, and that's okay.
I love that.
I love this. So where can our listeners find you?
So I love to post on Instagram lately. I've been posting all the tips and mental health, information and all that. I'm Alyssa K Therapy on Instagram. And then I have my own website, ak-psychotherapy.com. And that's where I have more on my specialties, some of the things we talked about today. And I offer consultations for new clients there as well.
I love this. And I love your posts on Instagram. They've been kind of like getting me through like all the things that I needed to think about for myself and redirect my like self-doubt and just do it. So opening my business on LinkedIn on 122 and
oh my gosh. That's very exciting. This is like, celebrate this. This is so much where you are, but
I'm super excited. And like for our listeners, like for criticism, like take it for what it is. You can either learn from it or walk away from it. But in the 61 years that I've been alive, don't hold on to it, because at the end of the day, if it doesn't bring you joy, you don't need to listen to it. Thank you so much. Hi, all. Thank you so much for listening to this episode. I'm G-Rex.
And I'm Dirty Skittles.
Don't forget to subscribe, rate, and review this podcast. We'd love to listen to your feedback.
We can't do this without you guys.
It's okay to be not okay. Just make sure you're talking to someone.